Okay, so if you wanted to do something with cobblestone yourself and you've never worked with it before, a good way to get started is the project library on Mayco's website. As you'll notice, we have the actual project, we list all of the colors that you're going to use, and we actually list a step-by-step direction. So, for example, if you wanted to do this cobblestone technique, and it doesn't have to be on a tile, it can be on anything, let's take a few minutes and go through the process so you'll be comfortable with using cobblestone. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a design using cobblestone and foundation glaze and stroke and coat. So we have a lot of color, because remember I said that there were two colors, black and there was white. On here we used white cobblestone for the design, and then we took one thin coat of stroke and coat and colorized each area. So let's look how we made this particular design. First step is we took foundation glaze and we applied 3 coats of foundation glaze over the entire piece of bisque. We use the soft fan brush because it's going to apply the best surface and background design on there possible. It just really flows on. The next step after we let it dry, because you can tell it's dry, it looks kind of gray, but guarantee you it's going to fire out a nice shiny black like our sample here. So I've already masked off some of this. What you want to do, the main trick with masking this off after the glaze is dry, if you try to mask this off when the glaze is still a little damp, your masking tape's not going to stick too good. So the key on here when you ever mask anything off is make sure those edges are down nice and tight. So when we put the glaze over this masking tape, it's not going to seep underneath it and ruin your design. We're going to get nice crisp edges this way. Okay, so everything's smoothed down really good. Next thing you want to do, take your cobblestone glaze, shake it up, make sure it's all mixed up really nice and good. You're going to pour some out onto a flat surface. I'm just using a little plate right now. And then once again, your new best friend, the soft fan brush. You're going to load this brush up really good with glaze so that you can flow it on. You want nice flowing brush strokes, not stretchy ones. You can see how it's pretty even on there. Now leave it alone. What can happen is you'll have somebody go, oh, I don't want a lot of big chunks on mine. So they're going to work this to death. Look at that. I am stretching that out as far as possible. Can you see how thin it is compared to the first coat? Chances are, if you do that, the cobblestone's not going to break up the way you want it. Now then you'll have the other person that really wants it on flat. Big, heavy cobblestones, and they're going to just keep piling this on and piling this on. You can actually over apply this, and what will happen is when it breaks up, the cobblestones may break up, but then they also kind of flip up and curl up, and you can have sharp edges. So I feel like the Goldilocks and the Three Bears. You know, too little, too much, just right. So the key is on this, what you're going to let it do is now let it dry until the shine is off of this. Once the shine is off the cobblestone, you're going to apply a second coat. Again, just layer it on there nice and even. Now walk away. I know that's the hardest thing, is stopping and letting it dry. So again, too thin, too much on the first coat, just right on the first coat. Let the shine go away, apply a second coat on that. When the shine is off on the second coat, that's when you're going to take your stroke and coat and start colorizing. Spend some time and we let the glaze dry. And like I said, when the shine is off the glaze, as you can see here, it's not real shiny. Over here next to the tape, it's still a little bit damp. Now I don't know if you can see this. Can we just zoom in on that right there? See how it's starting to crack a little bit? That's what happens when it starts drying. This is also what will happen inside of the kiln. It'll start cracking a little bit. What you don't want to do is let this dry so much that it starts cracking on its own before you start colorizing it. So if you're going to let it dry, stop it when the shine is off the glaze and then start colorizing it. So like I was saying on our finished sample, I'm going to take some stroke and coat and I'm going to just kind of lay down one coat over this. I'm not going to try to make it really heavy. If you put 3 solid coats on here, what you're going to do is you're going to weigh down the crystals, or not the crystals, but the cobblestone to the point that it's not going to do its job, which is to break up. So we just want to put one thin coat on there, and it really is going to colorize it. So this red here is going to turn into this red here once it's fired. Okay? So that's all the key is under that. You don't want to overwork it. Like if you keep brushing it, you're going to overwork that. Just take your soft fan brush, lay down a coat, and see how I'm just kind of getting the glaze off of there and then reloading. I can always come back with another color like we did on our sample. And if this is too big, it's going to be fine here. I'm just going to lay down one coat because it stays within my tape. Alright? And then once you have everything painted, you're going to peel this off of here and you have your black lines. So cobblestone really is a fun, interesting glaze to work with. Now let's say you are doing this and you need to transport it. What you can do is once you have the stroke and coat over the cobblestone, the shine is off, you can take Mayco's Wax Resist, apply one coat of wax over this entire piece, transport it, because that way the glaze is not curling up and breaking up and getting knocked off in transport. Put it in the kiln. When it fires, the wax is going to burn away. This is still going to do its job of breaking up and cobblestoning for you, and you have an awesome design. This is what you're striving for. Enjoy.